In this film, I will investigate the timer function blocks T-on, T-off, and TP. In the previous film, I introduced the logic blocks and or not, XOR, and also showed how to achieve a not without the block. I also showed the set reset latches, RS and SR. Now I will look at the timer blocks T-on, T-off, and TP. I will start with the T-on block. T-on stands for timer on delay. And here is the block in codesys. We have an input here, PT, that is preset time. It requires an input variable of the type time, given like this, T hashtag, and a number, and then the unit, hours, minutes, seconds, milliseconds, or even days. Here I have seconds, S for seconds. Here is also time, elapsed time. It shows how much time has passed since the clock started. This ET variable does not need to be connected, but if it is connected, like here, to T, the variable it's connected to, T, must be declared and be of the type time. As for the other function blocks SR and RS, this needs a name. We need a memory to remember the time elapsed, and therefore we need a name, an instance to allocate memory for this one, which means that the function block has to be declared in the local variable list. I will show how this block works. Here is my T-on block. I have given it the name timer1. I have the preset time, 3 seconds. I have an input here, A, and the output Y. And I'm measuring the elapsed time in the variable T. The input A and output Y need to be booleans. To illustrate how the timer works, I have a signal A going from false to true to false to true to false again, like this. Now the timer is measuring the time from the input signal becoming true, and the amount of time measured is 3 seconds. So when A became true, I will measure the time 3 seconds. And here as well. When A has been true for 3 seconds, the output Y becomes true. But it has to be true all the time for those 3 seconds. Then, when A becomes false again, Y becomes false at the same time. This means that this short pulse, that's shorter than 3 seconds, doesn't give any response in Y, because A has not been true for the entire time, 3 seconds here. This time the pulse is too short. The next block I will study is the T-off block, timer off delay. Here I have omitted the ET part. I have just removed the question marks, and it's not connected to anything. And that is okay if I don't want to use that variable. Here I have a new input signal B and an output signal Z. In this timer I also have a preset time, now for 4 seconds. I will use the same input signal as before, but now in B, and study what will happen in Z. This timer is a timer off delay. We can see that on the symbol it's going down here, which means that we want to measure the amount of time that B has been low. Therefore, we start the clock when B becomes low, and then it measures the time for 4 seconds, because that is a preset time. And our ET will register the time from when the clock started until 4 seconds. This means that our output signal will look like this. It becomes true at the same time as B, but then we start the clock when B becomes false, and the output signal will remain true for 4 more seconds before it becomes false, since the preset time is 4 seconds. This means that this short pulse will also be registered, and it will be 4 seconds longer. The third timer is the TP, time pulse. Looks similar to the other timers. It needs a name, it has an input, the preset time, the output, and the elapsed time. But now we have a pulse symbol here. My new input variable, C, is very similar to A and B before. Now I will see the response in X. This timer measures the time from when the input became true, and it gives a pulse that is exactly, in this case, 2 seconds long, regardless of how long this pulse is. We measure the time from when the signal became true, and we have a pulse that is exactly 2 seconds long, for long pulses and for short pulses. If C had become true again within this interval, the clock is still registering the first edge here. So a number of short pulses in here will become 1 2-second pulse. In the next film, I will use one of the timers, the T-on block, in an example in Codesys.